Telling stories, it's what we do here. Telling stories to share with you. We have been doing it now for 75 years.
And that is something of a milestone, we think. A milestone we'd like to mark with you. We've got some familiar faces who will join us, but first, let's take a few moments to share our story, the story of WUSA9. It begins back on January 16, 1949. On that winter day in D.C., station WOIC flipped the switch to begin full-time operation. Yes, WOIC, our call letters back then. But not for long. After just a few months, CBS and the Washington Post bought the station and changed the call letters to WTOP. We grew quickly, and the station moved to a state-of-the-art broadcast facility in 1954, 40th and Brandywine Streets in Northwest.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Broadcast House.
Broadcast House, a house we called home for quite a while.
After years of hoping and months of planning and weeks of construction and preparation, we're at last ready to show you our new home, and we're pretty proud of it. Now, this is the house that we live in.
But a house is really not a home until you fill it with family. And we did. Like reporter Donna Douglas.
I never know where they're going to send me next, whether it's riding a fire engine, being a waitress at People's Drugstore, or driving a taxi cab, or even selling peanuts at Griffith Stadium on opening day.
News anchor Don Richards.
Reporting the news from anywhere is a pretty serious business. But reporting it from Washington, the news capital of the world, makes it especially important that the news we bring you is accurate and up to date.
Hi there, Rangers.
At Broadcast House, there was room for extended family too, like Ranger Hal.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you?
America had Captain Kangaroo. DC had Ranger Hal.
Instead of starting school?
I'm sure I'll like the teacher, but...
Our family also made room for a young radio newsman. He was planning to board a plane to cover the Korean War. Well, that flight left. But Walter Cronkite's career was diverted when CBS brought him to Channel 9 to do television.
I did the two broadcasts for almost 4 years, never wrote a script. I did both of the broadcasts extemporaneously. It was great fun. We had a little two-desk operation in the basement at 40th and Brandywine Street. Of course, Washington was a great station to break into television news and be able to experiment with television news.
An experiment that grew in size and scope, and we kept growing with it in ways that blazed new trails. In 1969, Max Robinson joined the Eyewitness News team, becoming the district's first black anchor.
When we do the 11 o'clock news, we have to be aware that this is the last chance a viewer gets to find out what happened during the day.
His partners, J.C. Hayward, the first woman to anchor a newscast in Washington, Maureen Bunyan, and Gordon Peterson.
Gordon is one of the most fascinating people I've ever met. I have never met before an ex-Marine captain who was also an ex-monk.
You want to find out something badly enough in this town, you can find out about it, because the town runs on paper. And somewhere there is written down what you want to know.
What you want to know, what you need to know, it's been our focus from the start.
Does the news you watch answer the questions you'd ask? If you're watching our news, we think you'll say yes.
Asking those questions over the years, reporters like Mike Buchanan covering the streets of D.C.
I came to work at WTOP in 1970. The boss gave me a station ID card and a tear gas mask. The anti-war demonstrations, almost daily protests in downtown Washington. It was an angry, ugly time.
And there was J.C. Hayward reporting from half a world away.
It's been 2 weeks since food was handed out.
It is the only organization that has consistently fought for democracy.
And Maureen Bunyan.
Prime Minister Ohira says he would like Americans to pay more attention to Japan.
In the late 1970s, an ownership change led to new call letters, WDVM, representing the District, Virginia, and Maryland. And in the mid-'80s, under the Gannett Company, we became WUSA.
Now from Channel 9, Washington's #1 newscast, Eyewitness News.
Through it all, we kept telling the stories that matter. Stories that mean something to you. Like a groundbreaking new medical treatment from reporter Steve Gindel.
This magic box and a drug from ancient Egypt clear 95% of the cases.
I saw this on Channel 9, and I immediately said, I just so glad. I said, I'm so happy that I finally found some help.
One of my most rewarding assignments.
And Andrea Rome with our breast cancer awareness campaign, Buddy Check 9.
It just seemed that every time I saw Channel 9 News, you were talking about breast cancer.
And some can be life-saving.
All right, Andrea, I will go examine myself, and I did. And I found a lump.
Dave Statter leading a Get Out Alive fire prevention special.
Down here we have a window. Admittedly, it's an unusual spot for a window, but it's an ideal location for our cameras to get a look at the fire we're going to set in this room.
There are 11 cameras set up throughout the inside and outside of the house to give you views of fire you probably haven't seen before. The closed door upstairs can't keep out the smoke forever, but if you keep low, you can survive.
It's breathable air down here. Any higher, it'll be very difficult to breathe.
Over the years, we've helped you navigate the roads and certainly the weather.
Quick as a flash, the weather comes alive on Eyewitness News.
With forecasters Gordon Barnes.
Gordon Barnes says something, I believe him.
Would I lie about the weather?
Doug Hill, Topper Schutt, and the entire weather team. When it comes to sports, how about this team roster? Warner Wolf, Frank Herzog, Sonny Jurgensen, James Brown, and Ken Meese.
I lost my place.
Think anchoring's easy? Try it now, pal. Try it now.
And then there was Glenn Brenner. Irrepressible, unforgettable, untamable, like a bull at a rodeo.
Veteran cowboy Gerald James is listed in stable condition tonight after getting accidentally stepped on by a 1,600-pound bull at the annual Calgary Stampede. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's one of those shows anyway.
Asking for football picks from a nun.
The New Orleans Saints at New England.
Now you say that just because they're Saints. Sometimes I don't go along with the Saints. They fool you.
Excuse me, officer. Fine, how you doing? I mean, what's the charge?
Oh, you got an overlarge weenie on the street, sir.
When Washington went to the Super Bowl in 1988, we sent Mike Buchanan to the host city, San Diego.
With the Redskin victory programs right here. Olay!
Buck found a beach that was clothing optional.
Do you feel nervous?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Take off your clothes, you'll feel better.
You know, you're right. It does. It feels good.
It does.
Yeah, it does. Oh, hail to the Redskins.
And that's the way it was.
We're on the move, WUSA, 4100 Wisconsin Avenue.
What do I need these for?
Because you're packing.
Investigative files.
In 1992, our Channel 9 family packed up again for another big move.
I'm not going to miss anything about this building. It is ugly, it's dirty.
Exciting. It's something new, something to look forward to. Of course, we're going into state-of-the-art over there.
You're going to miss it? This building? Do you miss car accidents? No.
We headed just down the street to a brand new broadcast house on Wisconsin Avenue Northwest.
WUSA TV officially opened its new home today. WUSA's president and general manager, Hank Yagi, hosted today's ribbon-cutting ceremony.
This new facility is without doubt among the premier broadcast facilities ever built.
We settled in quickly and kept doing what we do.
Our open records investigation identified case after case, cruisers without flashing lights, where the police department gets officers who ran red lights off the hook.
We have a level of fear that we're not used to.
It's kind of unsafe right now. I never thought anything like this would happen around our neighborhood. We're scared to come to work.
Were you scared?
Yes. You go out in the morning, you don't never know if you're going to make it back.
Eric Toth is serving a 25-year sentence at this federal prison. We spoke with him about his web of deception and how he stayed one step ahead of law enforcement for so long.
I've just been thinking about my daughter, where she could possibly be at.
Where do you think Alicia is right now?
I honestly can't answer that.
In just the past 3 weeks, authorities say more than 50 persons have been arrested and over 100 guns have been taken off of the streets since Operation Ceasefire was launched.
Remembering the moments that change our lives.
Now 92 years old, Miss Hale shares her vivid memories of the 1963 March on Washington.
To think of all the people that came here from so many places. And then I remember Martin Luther King up there on that podium and when he started giving his speech.
My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
And bringing you the big stories as they break.
Art Castellano saw the plane and then the flames from over a mile away. He raced his SUV over medians and around barricades to get to the Pentagon. Hands and arms reached up through smoky windows.
Our Bruce Johnson was the first to report Barry's death, and he joins us with more reaction. Bruce?
Shock, stunner, punch in the stomach, all of those things.
This was the deadliest assault against journalists in the history of the United States of America.
There's no mistaking what the survivors think the motive of the attack that happened here in this building at the Annapolis Capitol.
Members from the 3 branches of government gathered on the west side of the U.S. Capitol to witness the peaceful transfer of power.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Just weeks after democracy was challenged by rioters.
I was at risk of being stripped of and killed with my own firearm as I heard chants of kill him with his own gun.
The police saying that crowd armed itself with anything it could find to attack officers.
Our team here at WUSA9 has you covered this election day. Keep it here Tuesday for up-to-the-minute results as they come in.
At Channel 9, what matters is what's real. It's why we've kept our focus on our community. Whether it's those who need a lift up, those who care for our environment, or those who defend our country.
Fall is here, so we're all going to be spending more time inside. And if you're anything like me, you probably have a lot of junk laying around. Well, here at WUSA9, we believe the environment matters, so we're taking care of it for you.
Catching the rhythm of the city.
It don't mean a thing if you ain't got the go-go swing. Say what?
Savoring the flavors.
Ben's Chili Bowl has stood as a gathering place for locals and stars alike.
You can come in here and you'll see a lawyer sitting next to someone homeless, eating, enjoying Ben's Chili Bowl.
All along the way, we've used leading-edge technology and innovation to share these stories every way we can.
Strike 5, take it.
And we now share stories in ways we never imagined when we flipped the switch back in 1949 through social media and streaming services, with a team working round the clock every day of the week.
Right now, we know no night in the DMV is the same. At WUSA9, we don't just tell the news. We pursue truth.
It's a team as diverse as the community we cover, fostering new ideas and fresh perspectives, all the while staying true to our core mission, a mission now marking 75 years. Yes, over the years, the call letters have changed. The look of that 9 has certainly changed. And you know the hairstyles have changed.
There have been 100 hairstyles. Someone said she changes her hair like she changes her shoes.
But here we are still, telling stories, sharing stories with you, from our family here at Broadcast House to your family and your house. So thank you for helping us celebrate the people who started it all, those who took up their baton, and those who carry it on to this day.
This is Eddie Gallagher saying thanks to all of you at your particular home for inviting us into your house from Broadcast House.
Because we know none of what we do here is possible without you.
Yeah, so here's to the next story and our next 75 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
so many great memories. Joining us back on the anchor desk, our former WUSA9 anchors Maureen Bunyan, legendary, and Derek McGinty. Maureen was the lead co-anchor at WUSA9 for 22 years, from 1973 to 1995. And for 12 years, Derek co-anchored our 6, our 11, and then he did the 7 by himself.
Yeah. In fact, that was at the beginning, was the 7.
Absolutely. You were a journeyman for sure. I mean, we look at these things, we see Mo, you as a younger journalist in your prime, doing your thing, traveling the world. Derek, such great memories of stories you love. Baby Top.
Yep.
In there.
I mean, I don't want to date anybody here, but I did watch Maureen when I was
a little boy.
Yeah, we
not
all
a little
saw
boy,
you.
but a young man, let's say. And then I had the chance to work with you and Gordon, and it was awesome.
You know, it's so fun.
And I'm so proud of you.
Well, thank you.
You've done so well.
Trying to hang.
She's the only one who
this-
told you that, huh?
This still works.
I'm not breaking in on this because Maureen will just come right down on you.
Oh, I know.
That was nice.
But talk about some of your favorite memories here. This place has, WUSA9 stays with people. People may leave, but WUSA9 stays with you wherever you go.
One of the things that I remember, Top, and you'll appreciate this, was when they drafted RG3. When the then Redskins drafted RG3. And for some reason, they sent me to New York City to cover the draft that year. And I had a blast. Because I was meeting up with all these crazy Cowboy fans and Giants fans and, just having a good time doing it. And we had, I think, trying to remember the name of the shooter. We had a great time. We shot a lot of great footage. And
Was it Billy McKnight?
No, it wasn't Billy McKnight. It
Okay.
wasn't. But was it Eric Lee?
Yeah,
Eric Lee.
It was Eric Lee. It was Eric Lee. And we just had a grand time. And, I ended up interviewing RG3 that night, like at 11 o'clock, live on the air. It was a great thing. And, of course, we all know how it turned out. But at that time,
it was
when
big.
we really
There was
thought
no way to know.
There I am right there. Yeah.
Baby Derek.
Yeah.
Baby Derek.
I might even had a smidgen of hair. No, I
No,
didn't.
no,
I didn't.
Got the stash going.
I didn't. Just had the stash. But you see, the stash was not gray.
We're the dreaded Cowboy fans.
Mo, you were here for 22 years. That's a lot of life. That's a lot of years. That's a lot of memories.
I have a football story.
Okay.
Top this, Derek.
Oh, God, here we go.
I was on a plane, I think I was in Florida, and coming back to D.C. And I was seated next to the window, and this big, handsome African-American man sat next to me. And while we were waiting to take off, adult men on the plane kept coming up to this guy, kneeling down on the floor of the plane, looking up at him and saying, "Oh, it's so wonderful to meet you. Good luck. Oh, I really love watching you play." Blah, blah. And I thought, who is this person? And so I asked him, and it was Doug.
Williams?
Doug Williams?
Doug Williams?
Yes.
The former
quarterback. He was
Wow.
on his way to start his job with the Redskins.
Wow.
And
So this is pre-Super Bowl. Yeah, she definitely got me beat. I think she let me go first, just so she could come back in and destroy me on the way.
What was your story again?
But those are some of the stories that we've all had, all experienced, meeting people that we didn't ever expect to meet, and meeting great people. Really, really great people. And I think that for me, especially when I was at the station in the 70s and 80s, there was so much happening in Washington, so much going on. And we had our share of violent stories. We had our share remember the plane crash?
Yeah.
In the 14th Street Bridge?
Florida. Yeah, Florida crash. And a lot of other ones too. But there was also the period when there were lots of protests and activities around the embassies, the Iranian embassy certainly because during the, after the Shah was overturned. And so I got to meet so many people, maybe even just for 5 minutes, but what a great and stimulating thing it was. And it caused me to go and look up, these issues and learn more about them. And I was always just thrilled to do that.
Yeah. Wow. And what was it like for both of you? I mean, coming back to this space today, you spent so much time here, so many hours, and this is really where you connected with Washingtonians. And so I'm curious to know what it felt like just coming back into this building again.
Well, I'm of two minds, because of course there's an aspect of sort of coming home to it, and you're just I used to pull in this parking lot every day, again, and so that was very cool. But the other thing, man, this place has changed. Yeah. Right? It's been 8 years since I left here, and you guys have really done a marvelous job. I don't think you did it personally, but
no, and we did not do it alone. That's for sure.
But
There's a whole team
really,
here.
the place is, it's at a whole different level.
It is. I mean, it's. I talked to somebody. It is like a growing, plant. It's going to change and evolve, and I think we are evolving well because it's changing business.
Yeah.
It is.
What do you think, Mo, when you come back?
When I was thinking about coming here, the first thing that crossed my mind was Glenn Brenner, because we moved into this building the afternoon after Glenn Brenner's funeral. And it was a cold, cold day, I remember. And some of us walked over here. We went to his funeral, which was at the Presbyterian Church on Nebraska Avenue, went back to our offices, picked up our stuff, and came into this building. So I associate this building with a very poignant moment, and how sad it was that Glenn was gone, and how difficult it was for us also to leave the old building at 40th and Brandywine and come here. It was a strange day, a strange juxtaposition of emotions and feelings. So I thought about Glenn when I walked through the doors here.
Well, I'm going to ask the question that everyone asks us about all of you, which is, what are you doing now that you've left television? What is your world like now?
They look pretty relaxed.
I know.
You do.
Yeah, they look really good.
I thought about a tie, and I realized I had burned them all. So no, what was the question?
What are you doing now?
Took up golf.
Not much that I don't want to.
Okay.
But I've got a podcast. It's called You Don't Hear That Every Day. So if you'd like to check it out, listen in. It's on YouTube. It'll be there. Otherwise, I'm trying to learn how to play golf topper without much success.
It's not easy.
It's terrible. Why would anyone put themselves through
It's the ultimate mind game,
It takes a while.
Like years.
Golf.
But even
and then you got to be having fun. Then you got to pretend like you're enjoying it. That's the thing.
Right. Yeah.
So podcasting and trying to golf. That's what you're doing.
That's about it.
Mo, what about you?
Well, I'm doing what Derek just said, whatever I want. And it's basically my so-called work part of my life is working with colleges and universities in this country and also in the Caribbean to help create exchange programs, student exchange programs, and also teacher exchange programs, and just using whatever connections and knowledge I have to help the next generation of students. My family is Caribbean. I come from Caribbean people, Guyanese. And so I have a great connection to Guyana and also to Aruba, where I was born. So I've done a lot of work with the institutions there.
She did put the hammer on you.
Again.
Yeah, she put the hammer on you again.
I will
sorry, Dee.
I will say that I've started. One thing I have done that I'm happy with is spending a lot of time or some time working with American University, my alma mater, and going back and talking to the students at the School of Communications, and trying to pass on what little I might have picked up over 35 years.
The things about the two of you that I remember, Derek, obviously we got to work together. Mo, we did not, but we have a mentorship and a friendship and sort of like an aunt-niece kind of experience here. Is just how such great writers you both were.
Well, thank you.
And that is so important for journalists and for communicators to be able to write well. And
let me ask you a question. Do you find that the younger reporters and others that are coming into the station now have that same reverence for that skill?
I think
maybe not writing per se. I think telling stories in a different form.
Telling stories,
I think we're adjusting with technology. How can I communicate this and meet people where they are? Because, I mean, the reality is a lot of people aren't reading lengthy web articles anymore. They're not sitting in front of the TV for long periods. So I think just sort of the ability and what they're trying to do has changed.
And I also think now our new generation of journalists has to do more things quicker, faster, and well. They have to be such incredible multitaskers. It's not enough to just report the news. You've got to report it, you've got to tweet it or X it out, whatever you call it. You got to Facebook it, you got to Instagram it, you got to TikTok, you have to be in several shows, you've got to have a social presence. And so the way the business has changed considerably has to do with not just being right and having the facts lead you and telling great stories. It's all these places where you have to share this information almost instantaneously.
All the skills.
Yeah.
To be able to digest things quickly, get them on paper, edit. You know, we didn't do our own editing.
We did not.
Right? We had editors. We didn't do our own shooting. We did not have have cameras over our shoulders. We had camera people. And now reporters do everything themselves. They set up the stories. They produce the stories.
It's a very tough environment to be in and to do it well. So for our colleagues that do it day in and day out, not just here, but around the country, who are committed to being first informers and doing their job with integrity, it's a lot. And we're grateful. Grateful for the opportunity.
And grateful to have both of you here with us again as well to share this moment.
Well, thank you all for joining us for this incredible conversation with Maureen Bunyan and Derek McGinty.
We're going to have much more tonight at 11. Thank you for being here with us.
We will not be here.
You can stay. You can stay.
Well, they want to stay.
Like old times.
Uncle Mo and Uncle Derek.
Uncle Mo and Uncle Derek. No, not Uncle Derek. I actually have nieces and nephews who call me Uncle Derek.
Yes, they do.